Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Naruttamam Devi Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Muttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 31st chapter, which is titled as The Movements of Living Entities. In this, Kapiladev is explaining to Mata Devati about how a living entity goes from one life to another life and keeps on changing the bodies. So Kapiladev is saying to Mata Devati, Pashyati ayam dishanya nano shabdavadrita vadriha sharira ke damashaira aparaha swadehe yat srishtyasham tam aham purusham puranam pashye bahiradicha chaityam eva pratitam. Translation: the living entity in another type of body sees only by instinct. He knows only agreeable and disagreeable sense perception of that particular body. But I have a body in which I can control my senses and can understand my destination. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whom I have been blessed with this body, and by whose grace I can see him within and without. So here Kapiladev is explaining the difference between the animal body and the human body. Animal body works by instinct, which means that instinct means agreeable, the animal body is happy, and disagreeable, the animal body becomes displeased immediately. These animals cannot control their emotions. Animals cannot control their senses. But the human form of life, by the grace of Lord, is the one by which we can control our senses and emotions. And therefore, here Kapiladev is saying to Mother Devati that one should thank Supreme Personality of Godhead who has allotted us this wonderful form of human form of body. So with this body only we can realize Krishna. So here, Purport Srila Prabhupada is saying, the evolutionary process of different types of bodies is something like fructifying flower. Just as there are different stages in growth of a flower, the bud stage, the blooming stage, and the full-fledged stage, grown-up stage of aroma and beauty. Similarly, there are 8,400,000 type of species in the gradual evolution, and there is systematic progress from lower species to higher species of life, right? So the soul gradually evolves from one body to another body, and then the human form of body is the highest form of evolution, right? Because in the human form of life, Srila Prabhupada says here, it offers consciousness for getting out of the clutches of birth and death. So human form of life, we can think about, why do I have to take birth again and again? Can I get out of this cycle of birth and death? And that facility is only available on human form of body. The fortunate child in the womb of mother realizes this superior position and is therefore distinguished from the other bodies. So if one is fortunate enough, by the blessing of Krishna, blessing of Guru, then one can realize that there is higher purpose to human form of body. Animals in the body is lower than that of human beings are conscious only as far as their bodily distress and happiness are concerned. Animals are just worried about their physical comforts, and they cannot think of more than that bodily necessities of lifelong eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So one cannot think more than that. Animals have no such superior consciousness. But human form of life, by the grace of Lord, the consciousness is so developed that a man can evaluate his exceptional position and thus realize the self and the Supreme Lord. So animals have no inquisitiveness about Supreme Lord, while the human form can inquire about the God. The word Dhamma Shariri means that we have a body in which we can control the senses and the mind. We cannot let our senses loose or mind go crazy because we have a human form of life which is supposed to be under control. The complication of materialistic life is due to uncontrolled and mind and uncontrolled senses. One should feel grateful to the Supreme Personality of Godhead for having obtained such a nice human form of body, and one should properly utilize that human form of body. Human form of body is a very important part of the creation. Human is the highest form of evolution. So we should take this advantage and use the human form of body for realization of Supreme Personality of Godhead. The distinction between animal and man is that animal cannot control himself and has sense of decency, has no sense of decency. Whereas the human being has the sense of decency and can control himself. This control is very important part of the human form of life. If this controlling power is not exhibited by human being, then is no better than animal, right? So the animals have this instinct. They act instinctively, but human form has controlled. By controlling the senses or by process of yoga regulation, one can understand the position of his self and the super soul, the world, and their interrelation. Everything is possible by controlling the senses. Otherwise, we are no better than animal. If there is no control, we are not animal. We are as good as animals, right? The self-realization by means of controlling the senses is explained herein. One should try to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead and one's own self also. To think oneself same as Supreme Lord is not self-realization. No, if you think that you have become a God, that is not self-realization, that is craziness. Here it is clearly explained that Supreme Lord is Anadi Purana and he has no other cause. The living entity is born of Supreme Lord as part and parcel. It is confirmed in Brahma Samhita, Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna, the Govinda, is the cause of all the causes. And he has no beginning, no end, Anadir Adir. But the living entity is born out of Krishna, out of Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Mamevansho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So both living entities and Supreme Lord are unborn. But it has to be understood that supreme cause of the part and parcel is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we are eternally part and parcel of Krishna. Brahma Samhita therefore says that everything has to come from Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarva Karana Karanam. So Krishna is the cause of all the causes. The Vedanta Sutra confirms this. Janma desya yata anyavaditarasya arteshu vignasarata. That shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms that. That original source of everything is Krishna. Krishna also says that in Bhagavad Gita, that sarvasya chaham hridasannivishto aham sarvasya prabhavo matah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samavita. So Lord Krishna also confirms that everything is coming from Krishna. So he says that I am the source of birth, everything including Brahma and Lord Shiva and the living entities. This is self-realization. One should know that he is under the control of Supreme Lord. We are controlled. We are not independent. And not to think that he is fully independent. Otherwise, why should we be put into conditional life? We are into conditional life. Birth is not in our hand. The death is not in our hand. Everything is being controlled, planned by Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, here in this shloka, Kapila Dev is explaining to Mata Devati about the difference between the human form of life and animal form of life. Human form of life is meant for self-control, controlling the mind, controlling the senses. While animals cannot have that control, they act on instinct. Human have highest form of evolution, which means that human can think about how to get out of the cycle of birth and death. But animals do not have such facility. Human can inquire about who is God, uh, what is the name of the God, what is the address of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Animals have no such inclination. So, ahar nidra bhay maithunancha samane tapashubi samanam. If we just think of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, we are no more than a sophisticated animal, probably, two-legged animal. But we have to be more inquisitive about the origin of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who is God? How the God exists? Can I see God? Why there are so many creations of Lord, and how can we understand the Supreme Lord through His creation? So all these questions are called as Brahma Jignasa. So we need to have a Brahma Jignasa. What happens to me after death? So that aspect is the one which separates us from animal form of life. Okay. So we having saying that, we will pause here and we'll continue reading of Srimad Bhagavatam tomorrow. Rudraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari.